Okay, today's review is going to be a bit different. Why? Well, it's because I'm reviewing 3 movies. Don't worry, I'm not going to be doing 3 separate reviews. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reviewing the theatrical cut, the director's cut, and the final cut of Blade Runner. I'm doing this for Blade Runner and Blade Runner alone because each cut of the film drastically changes it as a whole. Okay, the 3 differences between these cuts is that the theatrical cut has a shitty voiceover and a happy ending that was tacked on by WB. The director's cut has a dream sequence, which I'll get to the importance of later, and the final cut doesn't have any of that. One more thing about the theatrical cut. The voiceover sounds exactly how it is. Like Harrison Ford was contractually obligated to do something.
Sushi. That's what my ex-wife called me. Cold fish. Hey.
Blade Runner has little plot. It's not really meant to tell a coherent story. In fact, it fails at telling a coherent story. It has 3 cuts of the film. What it's meant to do is it's meant to pose a question. What is humanity? The film starts off with a wall of text. Not to tell you what the story is, but to tell you what replicants are. Replicants are androids who have greater strength and agility than humans. They also have the same intelligence as their creators. They are used for slave labor off-world, but are legal on Earth after a mutiny. If they are seen on Earth, they are immediately killed in the street. This is not called an execution, it is called retirement. The opening scene for this film shows off what is known as the Voight-Kampff test. A test that determines whether or not you're a replicant by involuntary eye dilations. And this scene shows off how bullshit this test really is. For some reason, they thought it was a good idea for Harrison Ford to say the N-word in this narration. Well, that's a bit awkward. Well, Ridley Scott can't be racist. He's still popular. Quickly, let's count the black people in Ridley Scott films!
1, 2, 3. Wait, no, never mind. Oh, no. Yeah, maybe not.
In a debriefing scene, we're given more information on the replicants. They aren't built with emotions, however, they can develop emotions. In order to make sure they don't develop emotions and revolt, they are only given a 4-year lifespan. In this scene, there's a very subtle line of dialogue to show us that there's no real way to identify a replicant. When Deckard is sent to the Tyrell Corporation to test the Voight-Kampff machine on one of the replicants that are there, he responds with, "What if it doesn't work?" When Deckard is searching Leon's apartment and finds the photos, he also finds a scale in the bathtub. Here's what he says in the theatrical cut.
Whatever was in the bathtub was not human. Replicants don't have scales.
In the next scene, Leon is asked if he found his precious photos. This shows that the replicants are already forming attachments and emotions only after 2 years in their 4-year lifespan. In the dream sequence that Deckard has in the director's cut, he dreams of a unicorn running through the forest. This scene, which is, like I said, only in the director's cut, is one of the rare references to the book. To its title, but still, I guess that's enough to justify calling this an adaptation. Also, this scene drastically changes the ending of the film, which I will get into later. However, it was only cut in the theatrical cut because the studio thought this scene was too artsy. Deckard starts to develop an obsession with Rachel, the replicant that he met at the Tyrell Corporation that doesn't know that she is a replicant. About halfway through the film, there's a scene that I don't really think is talked about enough. Everyone talks about the morality of the replicants in conversations about this film. However, no one talks about the morality of the arguably only human character in this film, Deckard, who rapes Rachel. Deckard isn't supposed to be the hero. Deckard isn't even really supposed to be the protagonist. What Deckard is a tool to progress through the narrative of the film and to pose the question of the film. What is humanity? The film is designed to make you question what humanity is. If whether being born makes you more human than if you were manufactured. Deckard is also a vague character. The movie is intentionally ambiguous to whether or not Deckard is or isn't a replicant. In the film, there is a human character named J.F. Sebastian, who the replicants befriend to get closer to the Tyrell Corporation. A little over halfway through the film, it is revealed that J.F. Sebastian has a disease in which he ages faster than he's supposed to. This is meant to blur the lines between what is human and what is a replicant, and what is humanity, because it shows that they have the same issues. When the replicants do get to Tyrell, Tyrell tells Roy, the leader of the replicants, that he cannot prolong their lives. Tyrell begins to patronize Roy, and then Roy snaps and kills Tyrell and J.F. Sebastian. The climax of the film is Deckard going to J.F. Sebastian's building to hunt the remaining replicants. He had already killed Leon and another replicant. Deckard kills another replicant, leaving Roy the only replicant left alive. Roy then chases Deckard, culminating with Deckard almost falling to his death from a building. But Roy saves Deckard at the last second. Roy's monologue at the end of this film is beautiful and profound, how Roy is talking about how his life mattered to no one in the end because he was a replicant. This was ruined in the theatrical cut with the goddamn narration. The theatrical cut's happy ending has Deckard and Rachel move to the countryside together, and Rachel has a long life. I'm not gonna even fucking start why this is fucked up! The theatrical cut of Blade Runner is a prime example of studio meddling. Blade Runner was never supposed to have a happy ending. You were never supposed to root for Deckard in this movie. The theatrical cut of Blade Runner is not Blade Runner. Studio meddling goes against the entire intent of a film. The most prevalent example of studio meddling is with Zack Snyder's Justice League and how they changed that into what is known as Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League was a 4-hour-long movie that Warner Brothers cut to 2 hours. In the director's cut and the final cut of Blade Runner, the ending is exactly the same. However, it is also very different. Deckard returns home to find Rachel alive. He also finds an origami unicorn on the ground, denoting that Gaff was there and let Rachel live. In the final cut of Blade Runner, all this ending means is that Gaff was there and let Rachel live, essentially telling Deckard that he can go off with Rachel, and that Gaff won't hunt them. In the director's cut, this ending means that Deckard is a replicant. Like I said, that dream sequence changes the ending. Gaff leaving the unicorn at Deckard's apartment isn't just telling him that he was there and letting them go, but telling Deckard that Gaff knows exactly what is in Deckard's head, what he's been dreaming about. So this is definitive proof that Deckard is a replicant. However, the final cut retcons this, and the final cut is what is considered canon in Blade Runner 2049. Before I get to my final opinion on this film, I'm going to talk a bit more about the message of it. What is the morality of the replicants? An argument I've heard against the replicants is that they killed people, so they can't sympathize with them. I don't agree with that. Almost everyone that the replicants kill, or at least try to kill, were provoking them in some way. Everyone on the transport were using the replicants as slaves. Tyrell had made them to be slaves. The Blade Runner at the beginning of the film was going to kill Leon. Deckard had just killed Leon's friend and was now going to hunt him. The only real unprovoked killing that the replicants did was the killing of J.F. Sebastian. I side towards the Replicants. And the reason why I side towards the Replicants is due to the actions of one character, specifically towards the ending of the film. In the climax of the film, Roy weeps about Pris, a replicant that Deckard had just killed. He has inherently human emotions, but is treated less than human. Throughout the film, all he's trying to do is prolong his life. And when he realizes that he can't prolong his life, or save any of the people he cares about, he saves Deckard. Roy wasn't chasing Deckard to kill him, but he was chasing Deckard to simply show him what it is to be a replicant.
Quite an experience to live in fear, isn't it? That's what it is to be a slave.
Roy isn't perfect. In fact, his character is supposed to be morally ambiguous. However, his motives are inherently human. Also, the world of Blade Runner isn't like ours. It's kill or be killed for the replicants. All in all, I think this film is a fucking masterpiece. Except for the theatrical cut, but I don't really count that as Blade Runner. Jesus Christ. Holy Cow 217. You need to come over.